Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church. Good to be with you today. The beginning of a new week. Going to be a wonderful week. And I hope that that's the way you're looking at it. I hope that you're looking forward to what God's going to do. Here in our church, we have several folks that are having surgery, and we're really praying that God will work out just good results for these folks. And I pray for you too, if you share it and let us know about it. So the passage this morning I'd like to begin this week with comes from Philippians and the 4th chapter. And just two verses here. Beginning at verse 6, it says, "Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for all that He's done. Then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard your hearts and your minds as you live in Christ Jesus." Well, you've heard me say, and probably others too, that many times in the Bible does it say, "Don't worry." And I know many of us worry. We worry about big things, we worry about little things. There must be something about humans in our culture that makes us prone to worry. Perhaps it's the thought that we're not in control. And just because we think we are doesn't mean that we are. And it's so wonderful to know that when things don't work out, or when you're trying to make some plans, or when you're thinking about the future and don't know what it is, there's something good about knowing that there is a God who's already at work on that. He's got it covered. And so he says here, as he says in many other places, don't worry about anything. Anything. Doesn't say don't worry about finances, don't worry about jobs, don't worry about health, don't worry about national things, don't worry about the world, just don't worry about anything. However little, however big, don't worry about it. Now I know that's easy to say and much harder to do, but that's what he says. Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need. You know, we've got a God who loves us. We've got a God who cares about us. We worship a God who has our best interests at heart. So, Paul writes to the Philippians, don't worry about it. Just tell God about it. Tell Him what you need. And He'll listen. And He'll act. Now, does it always act the way we want Him to? He's still God. He gets to make the decisions. We don't. He gets to make the final judgment. We don't. But as we talk to Him about our needs, He talks to us about His solutions. And it goes on to say here, then, when you've done that, then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. What is peace? Well, it's the absence of worry, that's for sure. It's also the absence of fear. It's the absence of not knowing the outcome. Because we can't know the outcome. We can only live in the right now. And many things have a tomorrow component to them. And we can't know tomorrow. We can study yesterday, but we can't know tomorrow. And life is full of living todays. Living and trusting today. And if we take care of the living and trusting today, we don't have to wonder about tomorrow. So it says here that God's peace will exceed anything and everything that we can understand. There's a lot in the Bible that I don't understand. There's a lot about life that I don't understand. There's a lot about God that I don't understand. Oh, I know more now and understand more now than when I started this walk with Him. But I don't have all the answers. And when I was teaching, students would ask questions that I couldn't answer. And I was told very early on in my teaching career, if a student asks you a question you can't answer, just tell them that. Don't fake it. Don't make up something. Just say, I don't know. And many, many times I have said in response to a question, I don't know. That's a good question. I never thought about it before. And then often I would say, let me think about it some and I'll try to get back to you. God's peace is greater than anything we can understand. Now, think about that for a minute. It's not that we have a situation that can't be understood. It's just that we don't have the capacity to understand it. Now, certainly man's knowledge increases all the time. That's part of the reason for science, to keep learning. And we know a lot more now than they knew 100 years ago or 500 years ago. And I'm confident that in 100 years from now, they'll know a whole lot more than we know right this minute. But we'll never understand all the ways of God. We just have to trust Him. And in trusting God, He gives us this peace. As I said, it's the absence of worry. Peace is where worry can't enter, where being upset can't live. It wipes it out. It just turns everything into an amazing relaxation dependent on God, where we can say, God, you're in charge. And I'm content with that. And then it finishes up here by saying, His peace will guard your hearts and your minds. Not only does the peace that God brings overcome worry, but it guards, it protects, it builds a wall around your heart and your mind. It builds a protective coating that prevents things from injuring you. Now, if you think about it, that's an amazing process. And all we have to do to get it is to tell God what we need and listen for His answers. Well, I hope this helps you today. I encourage you to think about it. If you have a need or a concern, let us know. We'll do everything as fast as we can to help meet your need. God bless you. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you again.